Hey friends, Pastor Michael from Organic Church, here with Sydney Erickson, Don Reed, Beth Jarvis, Nick Offolter, and Pastor Roger Deerdorf.
I've seen they had all the Toy Story.
Yeah.
What was the idea behind that?
I guess that was it. What is it? The last Toy Story where he gets sad when he goes off. All the toys are sad when he goes off to college or whatever. So Courtney always takes one every year with Noah in front of all the. It could have meant less to Rosalind, but I'm like,
she's a trip.
I got you guys. We're on right now.
oh,
We talked about Rosalind's first, not Rosalind. Well, Rosalind and Noah, right?
yes.
Their first day of
Got us on.
just now. We're 30 seconds in.
Right?
I didn't know you started already.
I was sneaky this time.
Don't be sneaky. Say something very inappropriate,
That you have
Never.
to edit.
like poopers or something.
Yeah. Yeah, because we've never talked about poopers on here.
Never.
How's everyone's week?
Oh, just love
Rolling right along.
Okay,
right.
okay.
Yeah.
Today's my Friday.
Oh.
Ooh,
Oh,
nice.
that's
How's that
right.
happen?
Well, I usually only work Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday,
Okay, yeah.
but there wasn't going to be anyone there on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
So, being the nice guy that I am and the dedicated employee, I went in and worked Monday.
Oh,
So,
you
but
got
I
it.
told the secretary, I said, well, Thursday I'm off. That's my Monday.
yeah. I'd probably rather do it that way too.
So I got 5 days in a row.
Nice.
Does Pastor Michael have a to-do list for you?
I already did one thing.
Okay.
I've already put the basketball hoop together.
Ooh.
I'm going to go get some sand tomorrow, so when he comes down, it'll already be up.
Oh. Well, you
I
have to put the net on, right?
Yeah, I have to put the net on yet.
But that shouldn't hopefully be an issue.
Well, they got diagrams, so I think I don't have to read their pictures. So.
Oh, yeah, that's even better.
That helps.
Yeah.
But then I have a fence to put up
Oh, great. Where are you putting that up at?
in front of the air conditioners.
Hmm.
He talked about that like 2 years ago.
Yeah, he
I
did.
thought he was just going to get those. They snap together plastic. That
Well,
go
I
around
think-
that
Is that what he got?
I don't know. It's still in the box. It's from Amazon, so
Is it from Amazon or is it from MacBid?
it's Amazon. It's a big box, about this tall.
I have yet to figure out that Mac bid.
Really?
You've never seen Max bid?
Listen,
He's pretty good at it.
I haven't even looked.
I
at it.
don't need any.
It's probably a better idea that you don't, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
I found out my friend, I might have said it, but she goes to school, like beauty school, right? Like she has to pass there, and her mom wants her to go there like every other day. So she's like,
Okay.
anytime you need me to stop in, I'm like, oh, like that's tempting.
Hey, that saves you a trip.
I know.
You already you saved money when you bought it.
Yeah.
You save money on
Well, if it
pick up
works.
and delivery. Well, yeah.
Listen, I'm already addicted to the Goodwill
Oh,
outlet
yeah.
by the pound.
Yeah.
So I can't take on any
You
more
have
addiction.
that as a vice. All right. Well,
Well,
tonight's
I'm sure we
yeah.
don't have to state the obvious that Michael is not.
Yeah, sorry. Michael is not here. I'm sure you guys have noticed after 3 minutes.
Everybody got a chance to talk.
Yeah. He's at an Elvis show. I don't know where, but
Maslin?
oh, that's right. Yeah.
He said it was a big one.
Yeah. So I'm sure it was last minute since we didn't know about it, but he likes doing that.
I
So
think he was opening for the Beatles or something.
Oh. Okay. So tonight we're going to talk about this topic. Reflecting back, would you change anything in your past?
Oh, I'd change a lot of things.
Yeah?
Yes, I would. Because I wasn't a very nice person before I came to the Lord.
And that was how many years ago? Like 25, 26,
Probably close to 30.
30 now?
But yeah, I wasn't a very nice person. I liked to party, go out and drink. And
Yeah.
Well, that doesn't make.
I was going to say it doesn't make you a
person.
bad.
well, yeah, but I wasn't a very nice person to my wife.
Oh, okay.
Gotcha.
So that,
Yeah.
You weren't very considerate of your time.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I would work all day and then
So
go to the bar.
Yeah.
yeah.
But then the worst thing was, she worked at the bar too.
Oh.
So I was spending time with her.
That's kind of how my so it'd be my grandma, my mom's mom, and then my grandpa. He wasn't my blood grandpa, but he was my grandpa, like, and they had met kind of like that because he had owned a private bar. And but yeah, same thing. It was bizarre because they would only hang out there for the longest time, and then they're like, maybe we should introduce each other's families, and then they kind of got the ball rolling. But it's just a different habit.
No, I would definitely change that.
Yeah.
Plus, I mean, I didn't spend a whole lot of time with my kids.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of miss that.
Yeah. But now you can do that with your grandkids and great grandkids.
Yeah, but they're always working.
I know. I know.
All my grandkids have got their own families.
Yes.
Now, so,
Yep. Yep.
Everybody's so busy.
For sure. Yeah.
So was there a certain moment or catalyst that you remember, here's where I got to change, the moment?
Yeah. When I was going to work one day and I lit up a cigarette and I started hacking and coughing and gagging, and I thought, I've got to change. I threw that cigarette out. I carried one around with a lighter in my pocket for I don't know how long. I'd change it every morning. I'd put it in my pocket, and I don't ever remember throwing it away. But I said, something's got to happen here.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You got to change your life,
Mm-hmm.
and so I did.
Yeah.
And it's a whole lot better now.
Mm-hmm.
At that time, was Linda going to church?
Yeah, she actually came to church here when Florence first started the church, and I think I came once. I mean, when my kids were small, they came, but hindsight,
Mm-hmm.
But and then you try and tell younger people, and they don't know what you're talking. You don't know what you're talking about. That's
Well, just like how we were talking with Michael's, high school son. I think it's the same even. Yeah, like what you're saying.
Oh, yeah. And I don't know, my son was probably, he might have been 45, 46.
Mm-hmm.
And he says, Dad, he says, you really aren't as dumb as I thought you were.
Yep.
I mean, he actually told me that.
Yep.
I said, well, hey, it's about time you figured it out.
Yep. Better late than never.
Yeah, that's true. That's why I said, well, at least you figured it out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but that's pretty much, I mean, that's what I would change.
Mm-hmm. But you learned like a lot of lessons that way.
Yeah.
The hard way. Yeah. Yeah.
But, a lot of times those lessons make you who you are. Too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Yep.
So, if you remember them.
Yes.
And say,
And stay true to yourself. Yeah.
I should do that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's about all I would change. That and maybe my profession. I'd be a brain surgeon or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Those hours and that responsibility.
That would keep me out of the bar.
That's true.
No, I don't know. I've been turning wrenches for 65 years.
Does that give you like arthritis?
Yeah, I got arthurs in my shoulder now.
Yeah, I bet. Man.
But
Hey.
it's, life is what you make of it too.
Oh, yeah. Well, what would you, besides brain surgeon, what else have you thought about? What other direction?
What did you think you were going to be when you were a kid?
Yeah.
The same thing I am now, mechanic.
Really?
Yeah.
You don't hear that a lot. Yeah.
Well, when I was a kid, I was always helping my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
Went right into it.
Sometimes I wish it was something different.
Mm-hmm.
But after you did it for,
Yeah.
like I said, I said 74. I started working at the gas station when I was 15.
Mm-hmm.
And changing oil, changing tires, and
Yeah.
pumping gas, washing cars. That's back then. That's when you pulled up and you got $5 worth of gas and it was like a half a tank.
Yeah. It'd be nice.
And you got your window washed, your oil checked, your tires
all right there.
Your tires if you wanted them checked.
Yeah.
I used to hate them little old ladies that come in. Can you check my tires? Yes, ma'am. You have to be polite.
Yeah.
You know. But that, I mean, I think working at the gas station, it gives you a social skill.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
Well, it's like customer service,
Well,
you know? Yeah.
But
How long were you at the gas station?
I started there when I was 15, and I graduated, and then I got married. I graduated in 68, got married in 68. 69, probably till 1972.
Okay. About 4 years, 4 or 5?
That'll be, what?
Oh, wait, you said 65 you started
Yeah, 65.
into 72. Okay.
But you know, I mean, it was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you met a lot of strange people. You know,
Bet.
especially because I worked where the Speedway is by Denny's.
Yeah.
That used to be a Shell gas station
Oh.
back in the day.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, and yeah, I worked there. Started out 90 cents an hour. And then they sold it, and another guy bought it, and I went to work for him, and he gave me a raise. I got $1.
I was going to say to $1. He probably just made it easy on himself.
But you know, really, when I was a junior in high school, I bought a car that was a year old.
That's awesome. Yeah. Yeah. Not many people can still say that, you know?
Yeah. Well, no, not the price of cars are now.
No.
My goodness.
Not one bit.
I don't see how anybody can afford one. I really don't. Like, you know, the bill of sale is still in my truck. It was like $60,000, but that truck today is probably around $85,000. You know, and it's really nothing special. You know, I don't see how in the world anybody can afford
I know.
a vehicle.
I'm looking now to find an SUV, and I mean, I really want a Honda or a Toyota, but those kind of customers, like, they're loyal to those companies, and they'll pay whatever. And
Plus they keep them.
Yes, exactly.
You know,
well, and they go for a while,
Yeah,
you know.
well, that's not like, you know, I'll say even back in the 70s. My mother-in-law, she used to get a brand new Chevy every 3 years. Go to Gibbs's and get a new car.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
You can't do that now.
No.
You don't even have the interest paid on it.
Right. Yeah, no kidding.
So, Roger, you were a young man in the Vietnam era.
Yes.
So, what was that like? What do you take
I don't
away
know.
from that at all? Do you think about that much? Or
I do. I had a lot of friends there. You know, they wouldn't take me. I was 4F. I was 4. Well, maybe never mind. But you know, no, they wouldn't take me. I even tried to get into the National Guard. They wouldn't take me. So well, you don't want me? I'm willing, but I guess I wasn't able. So, but no, I had a lot of friends. I really didn't lose anybody, you know, but they come back pretty screwed up.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, their heads were somewhere else.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it's interesting. I like to watch some documentaries on it, you know, just to see what it was like. But I had one friend. He was in the Navy, and he was on a aircraft carrier, and he said that he would they'd send planes out, and then when they was coming back, they'd count them just to make sure everybody got back, you know. But another life.
Yeah, Ken Burns has a really good documentary
Yeah.
on the Vietnam War. It's really good. Of course, he's done one on the Civil War and World War II.
Yeah, I always watch all those because it's interesting.
It's fairly new.
I mean, because that's like Wagon Train. You ever really pay attention and watch Wagon Train? A lot of times it's a story about a real person and the struggles that they had going west.
Mm-hmm.
And I started watching one on the Donner Party.
Yeah.
And it was interesting.
Oh, yeah, it's rough.
I mean, like,
imagine putting your whole life on the line.
Yeah, to start out and
to
go
start
nowhere.
over, to
Yeah.
have make a life for yourself, or a dream, the American dream. To just and I think the interesting fact about that for me is I think some of them were from Springfield, Illinois, which is where Lincoln was from.
Yeah,
and I think some of them even knew him, and they left that where he came from, obviously, but they just felt that need to risk everything to start a new life somewhere else, and that had to take a lot of faith.
Oh, yeah. Especially all those diseases. I mean, they hurt, like they knew of those things going on. And
and they had that timetable.
Yeah.
They had to get it across that mountain.
for the winter.
But then, well, I don't think, from watching the documentary, I really don't think that they would have ended up in the trouble that they were in if they would have taken the correct route.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They wanted to take a shortcut.
Mm-hmm.
And, in life, sometimes there are no shortcuts.
No.
I think they had lost some time, and they wanted
Yeah,
to
and they wanted to try and make the time up, and you can't really fault them for that.
Mm-hmm.
But
how would you
why-
know,
why-
how terrible it really could be?
Right.
Yeah,
Until you're in it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Why would you go down this path? Well, it's easy,
Mm-hmm.
and then the other one's hard.
Easy and quick.
Well,
Which
and
one
we do that all the
one
time.
would
Oh, yeah.
you take?
Oh, yeah.
People, we do that all the time,
Yeah.
which leads to the very question.
Death
that
and
we're talking
destruction.
about
Yes.
is what would you change in your life?
Yeah.
I'm sure
Yeah.
a lot of us have took maybe some shortcuts in life, or
Mm-hmm.
didn't think through something clearly enough before we did it.
Mm-hmm.
And at least
I've had a lot of those situations.
Even our walk with Christ.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yep.
It's
Yeah.
sometimes it looks like we're
Sometimes it's
taking
uphill. Sometimes
Yep.
it's
Yeah.
downhill.
I mean, we're
Trudging
going
along.
and
Mm-hmm.
something looks, it looks easy. Let's try this.
Yeah.
Before you know it, you step right out of the light.
Yep.
Right
Yeah.
out of the path.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, it's easy to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, yes, it is, because, well, to get back to, when we lived in Yerixville, we just lived right up the street from the Nazarene Church,
Mm-hmm.
and so we started going there, and we went. I mean, we were faithful, I quit drinking, I quit smoking. I still had, words, but not at home. And then I got a different job, and the environment was completely different. And it's real easy to fall into the enemy's trap of, okay, come on, let's go. So, new guy, you don't know anybody.
Yeah.
So you do, you go.
Trying to fit in.
And, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, have a beer. Nah, it's okay. Have a beer. Well, okay. Well, actually, for that place that I worked, it was kind of a joke going around that every job that we ever got, whether it was close to town or in town or it was out of town, there was always a bar within at least a half a mile of the place.
Wonder why.
Yep.
And that was a big downfall of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Just, I guess, not enough willpower.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're easily tripped up.
Oh, yeah.
I remember in, Water Street when I was a kid, there was 3-4 bars right there on that
Oh yeah,
strip before you hit the overhead bridge. It was like, So I can imagine. And that's just
What are
right
you
there in
ladies
that little
laughing at?
area.
No,
And then, of course, there was
They probably been in every one of them.
Yeah.
We probably were.
Pink poodle.
We were young and dumb as well. Yes. Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure, there was probably 10 or 12 in a 5-mile radius.
Now,
that's
do you
like-
mean the side, like the Mako side?
Yeah.
Or okay,
Yeah.
that's what I figured.
Yeah, all
Oh,
along that,
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
both
yeah.
sides of the street.
But
before
yeah,
you
both
get to
sides of
that
the
bridge.
street were I'm trying to think. Remember, there was probably 4 or 5 just in that block on both sides of the street from Mako's up to Water
I
Street.
remember
Mhm.
3 or 2.
Well, you're still young.
Yeah, so.
What 2 do you remember?
What was it? A wooden keg
Yep.
Okay, well, I was the pink.
and greenies.
Oh, greenies, yeah.
I remember
Oh,
greenies.
that Mary's was over on Trenton Avenue.
Yeah. What was
Yeah.
the one down where the car wash is now?
The Edgefield.
The Edgefield.
Edgefield.
Mary's Edgefield. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then the Hilltop.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah.
the Hilltop. Yeah.
That's pretty good. Christian talking about all the bars in town.
But look, they're not there.
Yeah, there's not
Right.
there
Not
anymore.
one.
No.
Not
There's-
one.
And a lot of these abandoned buildings are now being
Turned into
finally turned into businesses, and some of them are Christian businesses, like
Yes.
which is amazing.
Yeah, because there's
So-
no bars in town
No.
unless it is a private. I mean,
unless it's a
private
club. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Then there's only
Yeah.
three of those.
Eagles,
Moose, the
the
eagles,
moose,
the
and
elks.
the
Elks.
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 Well, what's that one? Is it the KFC? Is that?
KFC.
Oh,
Oh, that's
And-
in Denison.
That's in
Yeah.
Denison.
Okay.
That they don't count.
Yeah, that's true. They're just a village. Yeah. Well, what else? Everyone else thinking?
Well, I always think it's such a cliche thing to
Ask.
Oh,
Mhm.
well, if you could change something, what would you change? Because most time people say, oh, like you said, I would change, 100 things. And then some people say, I wouldn't change anything,
Mhm.
Well, maybe they had a perfect life.
No, it does make us who we are, though.
It does.
today.
And that's the way I look at it. Like if my life wouldn't have, I don't know.
And, if you grew up in the 80s like
Yeah.
I did, if you mess with the time continuum, you could screw the whole universe up.
Yes, for sure.
So if you think about it, if you go back in time and change anything, what would that do to the rest of the, even if it's something so
Back to the
insignificant.
future.
Yeah. Something
Back
so
into
insignificant.
time.
Yes.
And it could just change the whole universe. And
Yeah.
so I try not to think about that too much, because anything that I think about, all the mistakes I've made, I think, well, yeah, that makes me who I was.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Made me a better person, made me think about things.
Mhm.
And that's probably the most important thing, is as long as you've learned something from it and you're moving
Mhm.
forward, it's okay. But
Yeah.
if you keep making that same mistake again, then you got something you need to change.
Hmm.
It's like what?
But I would say for me, I would just say the period after I was divorced, I just wish I wouldn't have lost my self-confidence.
Hmm.
I wish I wouldn't have lost who I was for a while. I think
Yeah.
for me, that was the biggest loss of my life, of 10 years of, just not being who I am
Hmm.
and thinking about all the time that I lost and what could I have done with that time other than feeling sorry for myself.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I'm not even talking like big goals or anything. I'm just like, just a small thing.
Mhm.
I let so much go. Oftentimes
Just because you're
I
moping
think about,
around.
like, I remember like the first couple Christmas Eves after I was divorced, like I would go home and I would go to bed like at 6:00
Hmm.
before it got dark,
Yeah.
because I didn't even want to face
Yes.
that holiday by myself.
Hmm.
But I wasn't by myself
Mhm.
at that time. My mom was still living.
Right.
My dad was still living.
But the way you were looking at it then.
Yeah. I was looking at the whole world. It's over.
Yes.
There's nothing
Mhm.
to look forward to. And so, of course, now I think, that's one more Christmas Eve I could have spent with my parents. I
Right.
wouldn't have been feeling sorry for myself.
Hmm.
It's one more time I could have done this. I could have done that. But I chose to, just be down on myself. And so that's probably one big regret
Yeah.
that I have, and that I would tell people, is no matter what you're going through, it's going to be hard. You're going to have challenges. You have setbacks, and it's going to hit you hard.
Mhm.
Nothing's easy. And I would never tell anybody, oh, you just need to get over it, don't worry about it, and just, you have those people like, oh, you just, because I have friends all the time who are just like, well, you just need to go out and
forget about it.
Pretty blunt. He was just like, you just need to go out and have another relationship with a female and you'll get over it. And I'm like, that don't sound right. But that's what a lot of males do. And so you have a lot of people talking in your ear saying, hey, just get over it. But I would never be that way with somebody. But I would just tell them that just never get to the point where you lose yourself.
Yeah.
You could take time for yourself to build yourself back up, to mourn, to get over that loss. But don't go forgetting about who you are, setting everything aside and become a different person, because I believe truly that's when things really get difficult for you. I think that's when the enemy really can get a foothold.
Oh, yeah.
You take everything that you know is good about yourself, all the gifts that the Lord has given you, and all of a sudden you just,
you
just
like,
nope,
give up,
I'm going to go. Yeah, you're going to walk a completely different path.
Well, yeah. Because you're not, like, as a Christian, you're not only questioning other things, but you're now questioning, like, yourself. Like, well, wait a minute, am I this person?
Question yourself more than anything.
Would it be okay if I go do this? Yeah, like.
Well, and you think, well, I must not have been that great. And,
right.
Somebody can move on from me. Then you think, well, what did I do? Go through that whole self-pity thing. And that's just about the worst thing you can do, is just lose yourself. And before you know it, 10 years has gone by and you can't get that time back. And, so for me, that'd probably just be the one thing that I would say just for myself, was just not, I wish I would have just stayed close to. Because
then you probably had to take a while to find yourself again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, then you got to get rid of all these bad habits you've put in place, because that's what you do. You take everything that's good about you, you set it aside, and you pick up all
you
the
mask
bad
it with,
yeah, and then and that stuff just, you can't just, I often, have you guys ever seen Spider-Man 3?
Is that
the one with Tobey Maguire?
Yes.
Okay, that's when he turns into the Black Spider-Man. So there's a moment in that movie where he finally decides that he's got to get the black spider off of his back, literally.
Yeah,
and he's basically peeling it off of himself, fighting it off of him to get back to who he is.
Like a physical thing. Yeah.
It's like a physical, fight.
Yeah.
To peel away that evil that he's put on himself, because that's exactly what he does. He gets down on himself. He gives up the red and blue hero Spider-Man.
Yeah.
And he basically gets infected by the evil.
The Venom one. Yeah.
And so now he's wearing the black suit and he's a completely different person. He's a jerk. All of a sudden he's a womanizer, and he's just doing everything wrong. And it gets to a point where I think he's almost like sick, and he has to fight that off and physically peel that off himself. And I think a lot of times it's like, that's kind of how it was.
Yeah.
You just, at some point,
you're like fighting this sickness inside of you. But
you got to decide which are you going to, you got to come to a decision. So,
well, yeah, because the Venom was like talking to him like, well, you're this kind of person. He's like, no, I'm not. Stop.
Yeah.
Like,
he would see himself in the mirror and he's dressed in black, and he thinks he's real suave. And of course, he hears all these voices.
It's actually a good movie. I like that one.
It's just but that's what it kind of reminds me of.
Yeah.
Is that's sometimes what you'll go through.
Like an onion. Peel on the layers.
I don't know if that's ever a good thing.
Ogres
Is that ever
are
get
not.
better?
Yeah, ogres.
Ogres are like onions.
There's lots of layers.
There's lots of layers.
Yeah, I don't know if that ever gets better.
Yeah.
Than onions, but so that's the only thing. Otherwise, I think mistakes. It makes you who you are, and
and I think, like you said, as long as you see the lesson and learn it, and then change and pivot, then I don't think there's a problem with going through that. That way you learn that.
You are in God's favor. God does want the best for you. And it's never too late to start over.
Yeah.
It's never too late to, if you fight hard enough, you can get back to where you was. You can get back to the footing you had.
Or get better.
Absolutely.
I was going to say that and better.
Yeah. Or get better. So
I think I ended up getting better. Seriously.
I believe it. Yeah. Well, and if you think about it, how old were you when you were saved? Have you had more years saved than not saved by now?
No.
No, not quite.
I would say I got to be in my 80s.
Okay.
I'm not quite there yet.
If Michael was
That'll
here,
be our goal.
Yeah,
I'm sure there would be a joke.
I know.
Yes,
I know.
yes.
And I'm going to be nice tonight.
Thank you. Yeah, you better be. I'm not carrying anything in for you. Either that or I'm going to leave you staying by the door and keep poking butt.
You're going to be 70 packs of hot dogs richer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. I got plenty of hot dogs. I got the giant hot dogs.
Just not the right buns.
Not the right one. I tell you what, one of those hot dogs, you could cut it in 4 pieces, and it'd be enough for.
I
4
believe
people.
it. Mm-hmm.
I bet that's the hospital gets them, and they're huge.
Oh, they are. They're like like this big. They're almost bigger than a brat.
But they're good hot dogs.
They're
Do they
all
got a
right.
tough skin around it?
Huh?
Do they got a tough skin
No.
around it like a brat or not?
No, they got just like a regular. It's like a quarter-pound hot dog. You never seen a quarter-pound hot dog?
No,
Mm-mm.
Just
Oh,
go to
hey.
Roger's house.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He's got some in the freezer.
Yeah, I don't know why in the world I put 4 in a package because I eat 1. That's it.
We got one for the dog.
Yeah.
They don't get no kind of people food. They get dog
Smart.
food.
Smart.
Yes.
Mhm.
'Cause then
Our
you don't-
cats get
good-
people food sometimes, and now they beg. If you can imagine
The
a
cats
cat
beg.
The
begging.
cats do.
They
Oh,
do.
yeah.
They will beg.
Oh yeah, we have one at work that he'll come in and he'll sit there. Go outside. You ain't getting nothing.
But sometimes you'll give them something, and they'll be like, what? "This is it."
Not that.
They'll be what a typical cat's normally like.
A dog usually will just.
Yeah.
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 You know, the
I
cat
tell
will
you-
be like,
I tell you,
"I don't think so."
when I had those wolves when we lived in town, I had that pup, and she would take and lay at my feet at the dinner table. Never get up at the dinner. Never ask or never try and beg for food. She would lay at my feet. And but oh yeah, she was a trip. She was a big, and she was the biggest baby. She was.
Mm.
She just. If I could, I tell you what, if I could find another one like that, I would have another one. But yeah, she was.
I can make you a deal on a poodle.
We had a poodle once.
This is third time around for me.
Yeah, she hasn't learned a thing, has she?
Although he is my lap dog now.
My golden doodle does that. And you're like, you're not 10 pounds. You're pushing 80 pounds. Like, oh.
Yeah, well, I got 4 of them.
Yeah.
I got a beagle.
Yep.
Which when she was a rescue, but when we picked her up, took her to the vet. The vet says, "Oh, she's not pregnant." 80 some days later, she got 5 pups.
Oh.
So then we got 2 of those,
Mm-hmm.
and then we got Duck. He's a
What is duck?
Duck. Well, you ever see that commercial where that little boy, he's got that, I think it's a black lab, and his name is Duke,
Yep.
but he can't say Duke, he says Duck. Well, but Duck is a Prince Charles Spaniel miniature. He's like this long, and when he gets in bed, he takes up more bed than I do. He gets all stretched out, but he's a wild child. He was a rescue also,
Oh.
but he is a wild child. He's got the plague. I have a ball with him.
Think he needs a friend.
He's no, he has 2 sisters and a stepmom. He don't need a friend. He has a friend. The neighbor's got a golden retriever, and they'll sit and they'll bark back and forth and talk to each other. That's his friend. That's as close as he gets too, because he don't like the fence.
Oh.
That's all right.
But that's like, you know, hey, those fences are the greatest thing since sliced bread.
The invisible fences or just fences?
The invisible fence.
They are.
I got, well, the one pup, Grace. Well, she's like, I think they're like 12 years old.
Mm-hmm.
But when she was a pup, she got lost with her mom and her sister. They took off in the woods. Well, the mom come back, and Rosie, she's so fat that she can't run. So Linda caught her. Grace came back, or Sadie came back. She calls me at work, crying. I can't find Grace. She won't come back. All right, I'll come home. It was almost quitting time, so I left. Went home. It's cold. It's like November.
Yeah.
So I go down in the woods, start walking the woods, hollering for her. And I could hear it sound like pup, but I think they were coyotes, pups.
Hmm.
So I go, I'm like a hill and a half from the house.
Mm-hmm.
And there she is. So I pick her up and I put her on my coat. And she has one of those collars on. She got lost at one time. She has one of those collars on, but it couldn't work if yeah. The battery, where the battery goes, is all busted out.
Oh, okay.
She knows that she got that collar on, but she will not go out of the yard.
Mm-hmm.
But the other ones, but as soon as that battery starts blinking, you better put a new battery in. It's like Duck one day. He goes over to the neighbor's house. His battery didn't work. His collar didn't work.
We have a neighbor that's got one of those fences. That dog does not care.
Mm-hmm.
So
And that dog bites.
is that right? So he goes over. So I get him back over. I get him in the house. I take his collar off of him, put a new battery in it. Linda's standing on. She's out on the deck, down on the second deck.
Mm-hmm.
Boy, he out the door, down it. He's going to go see the neighbor again.
Oh my
He goes,
goodness.
he turns around and runs back up. And she sits down beside Linda.
Now, I have the collar. It doesn't shock. It just
Vibrates. Yeah.
But all I have to do is say, do I need to get the button?
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
Oh no.
they are very smart. They are.
It works on cats too. So, you know,
Does it?
yeah, we have 2 cats that have collars.
Hmm.
Yep. Because Margie's scared to death that they'll run out on the road and get hit. So her vet told her, try it. I've heard people do it and it works. And they learned really quick. The first one did a somersault when it hit the boundary and never tried it again. So now the orange one we just got, we put one on it and it didn't. Unless it didn't get a good shock on it.
Mm-hmm.
It took off into the woods and it kept going. And they do say that if it can withstand the shock long enough, and get far enough, it'll quit.
Oh.
So if you can just make it.
Well, yeah, because it probably disconnects and everything.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Yep. I'm not going to be cruel. I just vibrate.
It's not being cruel.
I know. It saves their life. It really does.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Probably
we live
would give
on
me
we
a
live
little
on a
bit.
pretty treacherous road.
You do. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm lucky. Our yard's fenced in, so I have that benefit. But
Yeah.
Oh, I don't. I live on a township road. The most traffic we get is on Sunday mornings going up to church
Mm-hmm.
and on the way home from church, or people living on the road. And there's only 7 mailboxes on the road, so.
wow.
Yes, there is. Yeah.
And you can only see
It's
1, 2,
3 houses, maybe.
houses.
Mm-hmm. The one day I went down the one neighbor's
the one
house.
down the
I think it took me a mile down. I'm not kidding you.
right before my house.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
For your
while.
mail route or just by mistake?
No, it was for, I think, Amazon Sunday.
Oh, you should have just left it up at the mailbox.
Well, I didn't know that.
You're there, right there.
And it didn't fit in the mailbox.
Oh.
So,
Oh, if you ever bring Amazon to my house,
mm-hmm.
just leave it up on the bank
Okay.
at a road.
Okay.
Seriously.
That's fine.
Nobody bothers anything.
Nope. Not unless there's a sign free on it. Oh, I've set a table and chairs up there. I've set a
No one comes and gets them?
yeah.
Oh, they do. Okay.
What else I set up there? Oh, refrigerator that worked. It was just too small. Washer that the pump was out of, but somebody picked it up.
We have a neighbor, God bless him. If we set something out on the corner curb for free, he usually walks on over, picks it up, and takes it.
Listen, Janae, there's nothing safe on the curb after you set it out there. The dryer quit, so we had to get a new dryer. So they delivered the new dryer. Jarvie took the old one out, put it out for them to pick up. New dryer don't work. Won't work.
Oh, man.
He's like, "Did you check the fuse box?" I said, "It's not my job to check the fuse box."
Oh my word! That's all it was.
It was a fuse box. He's like, "We got to go get that dryer." And just as we went outside, there they drove off. He's like, "Well, at least when they picked it up, they tipped the change out and they're picking up the change."
So that's what you would change about your past.
Yeah.
Check the fuse.
Check the fuse box.
Well, it's always the first thing to check.
Yeah, I guess he thought I did.
So it would.
Don't run on gas.
Yeah. Would the dryer at least like work sometimes or like
No, it was
just
quit.
gotcha.
And it's only one on that
Yeah.
breaker.
Oh yeah. Then there was no other way of knowing,
Yeah.
Well, I guess for me, it's like a yes and no. I think I would change going to dental assisting school. The only reason being, and I've always been like a shaky person with my hands, but I've never okay, I'll get used to it. Nope. And I'm like, well, not only am I still learning this technique, but I'm in someone's mouth and they're probably, I wasn't technically at that point. We were still working on each other, but I'm like, I can't ever do this in an actual, clinical setting.
Where'd you go?
Buckeye.
Oh.
Why?
I just wondered. I just thought maybe you went to start.
No, and I should say even with Buckeye, I still did something with it, and I think I learned a lot of life lessons at that job. So it's I do kind of regret it, but then again, I don't because I would have never landed that job without having that dental background.
A little bit of experience.
Yeah.
I just wondered because I used to go to
The start and they would work on you. Yeah. That program for the dental hygiene, I think it was 3 years to get in when I was in high school.
Oh, is that right?
And I think it's pushing 4 to 4.5 now. So you get all your prereqs done, and which normally takes a year or so, and then you have 4 years to wait. I'm like, man, which I never wanted to do hygiene anyway, but my friend was looking into it. So, yeah.
Well,
yeah, I can really appreciate a good dental hygienist
Yeah.
because
Right.
I just went to the dentist on Monday, and my last we have one girl there. She's just fantastic. It's like she's not hardly even touching your teeth.
Yeah.
It's just wonderful. And then for a while, it's getting these other girls, and it's oh my, it was just painful and just hated going there.
Mm-hmm.
And finally this time I got her again, and I told Margie when I got home, I said, she's the only woman other than you when I see her, I want to hug her. I said because
got that gentle touch.
it changes everything.
Can you ask to have her from now on?
And we did, but
Yeah.
I think maybe something happened. Maybe they were overbooked.
Yeah.
Whatever happened.
Everybody
so,
probably asked for her.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the
because
thing.
She's really good.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you got the wrong one, it's for me anyway.
It's like getting a good haircut.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's true.
You know.
Finding the right
Right.
Finding the right person.
teeth lady and hair lady. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it took me forever to get Chase into a dentist just because he was petrified from, the local one that was open here for years. And yeah, I'm sure you know. And now he's
on Water Street?
No, Denison.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So yeah, I was gonna say I think there's that one and then the Uriksville one. So I think you can figure it out. But I mean, now he's like, no, I'm fine. Like, what are you guys stressed out about? So I'm like, well, I mean, there were people that they would need Valium and everything for just a clean. Which I mean, if you've had some traumatic experiences,
I'd take it. If they want to knock me out, I'd be like, yeah, go ahead.
yeah.
I'd be okay with that.
Oh, they had to give me a half a bottle. I had a procedure done one time, and I was supposed to take they give me a Percocet and a Vicodin to take an hour or a half hour before the procedure. I didn't do a thing.
Really?
Nope. Wow. I'd never be a good doper.
Well, one Vicodin knocked me out, and I had some crazy dreams.
I drove.
Roger.
Drove yourself home. Huh?
It wasn't heavy equipment, so
That's all the
it was
bottle
just a
said.
car.
Yeah.
I don't know. They say that nitrous, like it leaves your system as soon as it's not hooked onto you. But man, and like that you're okay to drive without it. But I was like, I'm gonna have to sit this for like 2 to 3 minutes until I'm feeling normal. Like I know you guys say that I'm okay, but right now I'm not okay, so I'm gonna sit here.
I've never had that.
It's just like that laughing gas.
I've never had laughing gas either.
Well, that's what it is. Nitrous.
I'm just tough.
Yeah. I forget what I got it for. I can't remember.
I used to get my teeth drilled without even getting any Novocaine.
Oh, no way. No way.
Then I
Said I'd take it for a cleaning. I can't imagine.
You
getting
do what?
I would take it for a cleaning. I can't imagine having a cavity filled without being numbed. No way.
That's how my stepmom is.
I tell you
too.
everything you want to know. If like I was,
Yep.
yeah.
My stepmom texted me today like, hey, September 11th, and I knew she had an appointment today for the dentist, but it was just a filling. Well, then it was at like 8:00. She texted me at 8:20. Hey, do you have any plans September 11th? I'm like, no, I don't think. And she's like, well, can you take me to my dentist appointment? Because she'll have to take Valium. But I think she's just like getting a filling, but it's under her crown maybe.
Ooh.
So I'm like, yeah, I'll take you.
Yeah, I got to go Monday for my cleaning.
Yeah.
So what would you change, Donnie?
Well, the thing that I would change is I wished I'd have been a better parent. Because my relationship with their dad wasn't the best.
Mm-hmm.
And so the kids saw a lot of yelling. And so I was a yeller,
Yeah.
not knowing if he was coming home or not coming home. And, and then when he was there.
Was his
he
name
was
Roger?
No, his name was
Okay.
he was a Joe. He was a Joe.
Joe Schmo.
Joe. So when he was home, he was always under the influence. Verbally abusive,
Mm-hmm.
So the kids saw all of that. And then I did a lot of yelling and screaming and a lot of cussing. Otherwise in my life, I never cursed, rarely ever cursed.
Just
but
at
boy,
him.
if Joe and I were
Yeah.
in a feud, I could throw out those words like no other. But, I don't regret that relationship, but I wished that I would have ended it sooner than I did because my kids were teenagers when I finally decided enough was enough. They had seen enough. So then I worried, are they going to walk down that same path? And I had a lot of worry and anxiety in my life. Are my kids going to walk down that same path as practically everyone on that side of their family? And so there was a lot of worry and a lot of stress. And I just said to the kids, one of those do as I say, not as I do type things. But I never smoked a joint, never, I did my fair share of alcohol when I was young, but never tried any drugs, no pills, no pot, no nothing. But so I would just say to the kids, you can break that generational curse.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So, and thank God both of my kids have.
Good.
My daughter has went into nursing and my son is a high school math teacher.
Yep.
And they both have.
So it sounds like maybe,
But, to this day, I sometimes feel like, boy, they really don't have to like me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
you're fortunate that they do.
love me.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And maybe they learned a lesson just by being in that household. Like, well, I don't want to do that
my
for
daughter
mine.
wouldn't put up with anything.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
So maybe she did, you know?
And my son, though, he will never argue,
Mhm.
but to the point that he won't even like speak his mind.
Mind. Yeah.
And so for him, to me, that's detrimental. But
Mhm.
I think he's growing,
Yeah.
Into that. But he was to the point that he would never argue. He would never raise his voice. He
Mhm.
would never. And I said, you don't have to argue to get your point across.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
doesn't
Yeah, just
have
get
to
your
be
point
an
across.
Argument.
You don't have
just
to be
because that's
angry.
what
to
you
get
Right.
your point
saw.
across.
Right.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be. But
all
that is
all
the
in-
thing that I would change.
All in the tone.
All in the delivery.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, just like Margie said on Sunday, Nick, when you guys were talking to me, like she doesn't regret that relationship because she has the boys now because,
Yes.
and Maggie, but it's like,
Oh yeah, God blessed me with two
Yeah.
great kids because
Yeah.
of that relationship.
and they wouldn't be who they are. Like I'm sure some of their personality traits come from him,
Absolutely.
hopefully some of the good traits.
Yeah, because if
So.
he was sober,
Yeah.
he was the nicest guy
Yeah.
you could ever meet.
Yep.
He'd give you the shirt off of his back.
Mm-hmm.
But under the influence,
Yeah.
he wasn't coming home. He wasn't bringing his money home.
Mhm.
He wasn't helping pay bills.
Yeah.
So
Different
yeah.
story.
yeah.
But don't ever doubt
Mm-mm.
yourself as a mom because
Yeah.
you've got two wonderful kids.
Yeah, and they wouldn't
It
have turned out the
shows.
way they are.
Exactly.
Right.
If it wouldn't have been for her.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
and I worked hard though too because of that. I would work 2 and 3 jobs.
Oh yeah.
But my parents kept the kids, so they had good influences in their
That's-
life.
yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I missed a lot of their younger
Mhm.
years because I was working so hard
Yeah.
to make ends meet.
Yeah.
So
But you've instilled that work ethic in them. They know,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
and
Yeah. And that's hard because my grandma was the same way. And my uncle kind of looks at it as, well, we grew up in the country and mom always had 2 to 3 jobs. So I was never allowed to go play any sports. I'm like, you can't look at it that way. Yeah, I mean, that's unfortunate and everything, but now you can at least give that to your kids if you want,
Yep.
Yeah. But
Yeah, you were probably doing a lot of good back then. You just couldn't necessarily see it.
Yeah.
With
Yes.
everything
Yeah.
else going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like to me anyway.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well, I got depressed a lot,
Mhm.
because, there was so much verbal abuse
Yeah.
that I lost myself
Yeah.
and my identity in that.
And that,
Mhm.
the toxicity. Yeah.
Yes. Yep. So, and the only other thing is I wished I could learn how to say no.
Yeah. People pleaser.
I am.
Yep.
Yep.
Hmm.
Yep. Got that sucker written
Me
across
too.
my forehead.
Me too. I'm slowly learning, especially now that I have my own family, and I'm like, hey, works. I'm like, I'm sorry, but I don't need this full time. Like, you guys need me more than I need you, and I'm trying. And so,
Work just wanted me to pick up another client out of town. They called me on Friday. It was after hours. And they're like, do you work Monday? And I said, for my other job, I said, I have got my patients to see. And I'm like, why? Is she wanting something? And they're like, no, she's not. We are. And I'm like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
They're like, well, we've got this client. Mom's got this major appointment she needs to be at, and we don't have anybody to staff it. Would you? And it's just around the corner from where you are. It's just around the corner. And he's like, Mount Bethel. And I'm like, Mount Bethel? I'm like, I know Mount Bethel Church.
Right.
So in my brain, I'm thinking, okay, it's
Must
right
be
there in that
close.
area. It
Yeah.
must be right there. So I said, well, send me the 485, get me the address, what's the needs? So he gives me the needs over the phone. I get this 485 about 6:00, and it's in Mount Pleasant, which it was like 44 miles, but it was over an hour drive.
yeah,
Yeah. On
Well,
roads
all the
like this.
hills and
So on Monday, they text me, and the patient has a trach, and I haven't taken care of a trach in years.
Mhm.
But for years I did trach care. But so I said, it's been at least 3 years since I've had a trach. And they're like, well, there's a learning module, on the Connect. Go on there, do that learning module. And if you pass that, you'll be good to go for Monday. So I did the hour module in the test. And so Monday morning, they text me, you're good to go. And I'm thinking, I might be good to go, but do I want to go?
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's an hour away.
Mhm.
I still have patients to see. I moved many of my patients to Sunday.
Yep.
So I left early on Sunday and went and saw patients, but I still had some to see Monday morning.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, oh, you've already committed. You're going to do it. So my daughter said, negotiate. I'm like, I'm not a negotiator.
Pay me mileage.
My daughter
Good.
said, tell them you want compensated.
Yes.
She said, tell them you want double time. She said, start there so they can come back down.
Right.
And I'm like, this is over an hour.
Yep.
Whoever thought that was right around the corner from where I am? It's not, and so I ended up getting drive time
Good.
to and from, a bonus,
Nice.
and time and a half.
Awesome.
Oh, so you probably got more than double time.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
She raised those kids right.
Yep.
Yeah,
For sure.
Caitlin's like,
Yeah. If it wasn't for Caitlin,
right, she's like, negotiate.
you would have
Mom.
just been like, yeah, sure.
Yep, they need you worse. They need you worse than you need them.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
yep. So I negotiated.
I ought to try that.
Probably wouldn't work for me though.
Of course,
I know. I didn't think it would work for me either, but it did.
Since I only work 3 days a week anyway.
They might make
Go
you
for
start
2,
working
Roger.
4.
Yeah.
No. No, they're not going to. If they say you got to work 4, I'm going to say, no, I'm going to work 2.
But because of all of that, too, back to, what I would have
Mhm.
changed, I don't worry now.
Yeah.
I just don't.
Yep.
What comes.
Mm-hmm.
God has me in his hands, and wherever that lands me
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
is where it lands me. I don't worry anymore.
Yeah. That's hard too.
Mhm.
Well, and you have to be careful because priorities change in life as you get older, and that's okay. And a lot of times people will make you feel like that's not okay to change, to have a change in your life that's better for you.
Oh, yeah.
In your own family sometimes
Yeah.
can be really hard on you.
Mhm.
Yeah.
If you make a change in your life and it's for something that you want, that you think is going to better your life, but perhaps it leaves them, I want to say it leaves them completely out, but it changes your relationship with
The
them.
relationship.
Maybe
Mhm.
cuts them a little short, so then they'll be
Yeah.
totally critical of it. And then you can have people say, well, I don't know if that's what God wants you to do. And I wouldn't let just anybody ever
Say that. Speak
to
that to you. Yeah.
I don't think that's what God wants for you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And then take that advice.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to be really careful.
Yeah. You have to kind of do your research and
Yeah. I mean, make sure.
Who's this coming
if
from?
somebody's going to come and talk to you about, what God wants for you in your life, you need to make sure it's somebody that,
speaks life into you already.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yes.
Yeah.
and can actually explain
Mm-hmm.
you
What they mean.
what they mean, what their point is, what they,
Yeah.
and somebody that you can love and trust, as opposed to just somebody being critical and
Yeah.
Right.
just trying to be selfish
Mhm.
of their time.
Oh, yeah.
Because they
Yeah.
don't want you to move on, they don't want you to
Mhm.
change. So yeah, you got to be careful of that.
A lot of times they try and push their agenda on.
Oh,
you.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Works for me, so it ought to work for you.
Mhm.
Sometimes, it doesn't.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And in the same sense, sometimes you can't be resistant to somebody. You may have something going on in your life that's not particularly good for you,
Mhm.
but you can't see it. And you could have people, trying to tell you that, you need to look within yourself and look to God to see where you need to be. And so you can't be resistant to that either.
Mhm.
You have to, like you said, you got to be willing to do your homework,
Yeah.
Right.
and be
Yep.
honest
Yep.
with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
To know where you're supposed to go, whether it's, I guess you should never go backwards, but
Yeah.
just where you're supposed to go.
Mhm.
Yeah. Especially if it's coming out of left field from nowhere.
Yeah.
Like this person's randomly telling me advice when they've never told me advice. Like, yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you could be working towards a goal, and there could be a lot of people saying, hey, you're doing a great job. You're,
Mm-hmm.
you seem happy. You're doing everything you wanted to do. You get a lot of positive feedback, and then you'll have
That one
maybe that
person.
one person who might be closer to you, who might necessarily be more important to you, but for whatever reason, they're trying to,
Yeah.
hold you back and make you feel bad
Mm-hmm.
about making a change in your life.
Well, and we've talked about that before. Like sometimes that's people looking at it as, oh, well, they're bettering themselves. Like I'm getting left behind, so I need to tell them, hey, you might, that could just be something as simple as that.
Yeah, I had a lot of when I was my first marriage, when I was ready to get married, I had a lot of family members who they were upset that I was getting married, and because it was going to
Change things.
it was going to change
Yeah.
things and take time away from them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
The
The family dynamic.
Dynamic. It was everything was going to change, and they were upset with that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
A lot of people can't. They don't like change.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah,
A
lot of
Yep.
people.
They like things to be the way they were
Mm-hmm.
forever.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The only thing that I don't like about change is when I get used to the kitchen and then she decides to change it.
Because you
And
got to
move
do all
the
the
pots and pans and
I've never
drives
rearranged
me
my kitchen, but I rearrange furniture.
Yeah,
drives me
yeah.
crazy.
I'll go in. I'm like, what's the fireplace just over there?
I can't move my fireplace.
Well, she's got
Well,
like
now
that.
I mounted the TV, so I won't be.
Oh,
moving that
that's
anymore.
how
Yeah, she's
that's
got,
how
like,
ours
that
is.
entertainment center.
Yeah.
With the fireplace in it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Caitlin's like, I'm so glad we mounted that TV.
Now you can't
Can now
move
can't
things.
rearrange.
Oh yes, she can.
I still can, but yeah.
I think for me, would have been career choices. Not that I'm doing what I know I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
My heart leans towards social services.
Yeah, more than
I think my nursing career, and especially being in home health, we're also social workers. Believe
yeah. Oh yeah.
But my experience with home health has taken me to the job that I'm at now, and I do still do a little bit of nursing, but it's a lot of social service.
Yeah.
work, too.
But you wish you would have done the social
I wish
service.
I would have done it at an.
But you didn't know that you would like it, and if it
No.
wasn't for what you went
Yeah,
for,
exactly.
mm-hmm.
I keep thinking, if I would have done this years
Mhm.
ago, where
and I think
but it wasn't-
that's kind of God's way of like working it. I think
Yeah.
like start with this, and
And
then
if I hadn't had the nursing background, I wouldn't be doing what
right, just how mine was. Yeah, because they would have never looked at me if I didn't have any dental
Yeah.
background. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Because I think back when you're graduating from high school for our
Mhm.
age or whatever, social services was like, oh, you're going to work for welfare and take people's kids.
Right.
That was your mind.
Yeah.
thought.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't social services in a hospital
Mhm.
or a discharge planner or, in a
Mhm.
nursing home or anything like that.
Yeah.
That just wasn't something that you ever thought of.
Mm-hmm. So what do you do now?
I do the transition of cares for
Yeah.
hospitals. So, all the doctors that are when their patients are in the hospital,
Yeah.
when they come home, not necessarily our hospital, but
Right.
any hospital. I get all their records. I go over them, all their discharge orders, make sure they have all their prescriptions, understand
Okay.
their new medicines, and
Nice.
if they need assistance with home health,
Mhm.
or equipment, or
Like the middleman.
Set up
Huh.
transportation for
Yeah.
follow-up appointments that they have to have, maybe in Cleveland or someplace.
Right.
They don't have a way to get there.
Yeah. Awesome.
Well, how about getting on my doctor? Because I need a new CPAP machine. Seriously, I do.
Is yours one of the recalled ones?
Uh-oh.
I don't know. Probably it's like a 1937 model.
Well, I'm sure it's been recalled.
Once or twice.
There's a little squirrel in there that runs the fan.
you just throw him some more peanuts.
That's what's wrong. I've been giving him almonds. He don't like them.
Caitlin took a lot of my cashews one time when she was young. There was a lot of squirrels in the yard on walnuts.
Cashews are so expensive.
And so she put them on her fishing pole, casted, and the squirrels would come and get them. She'd put another one on, cast. And so the squirrels were eating my cashews. So I come home one day and I'm like, where's all my cashews? Who ate all those cashews? And my son said, Caitlin must have. And I said, your sister's allergic to
She's
nuts.
out there putting them on with rubber gloves.
Rubber gloves. I said, so who ate the cashews? Wasn't your sister.
Those squirrels on Walnut Street are ridiculous.
Well, hence the name.
Walnuts.
Yeah.
Listen, that nice little pleasant dog I have. He face planted me in one of them trees.
Chasing after a squirrel. Mm-hmm.
Broke my flip flops. You take him on a walk, and as soon as he hits that street, he starts watching. Where they at? Where they at? Where they at?
So thinking back, would you ever get a poodle again? You probably would.
Yeah, she would.
Yep.
That's
If she's
her
had
dog.
4 of them.
Yep.
That's
Exactly.
her dog.
I like that they don't shed.
Me too. That's how my doodle is. And yeah.
Yeah. Although he's 5 years old, do you think he'd just start settling? He is doing better.
It takes a while.
He is doing
Yeah.
better. My first one was a rescue, and now I know why. He was in 3 homes before he came to ours. Because by the time the 3rd home, he's like, I better behave or they're going to be getting rid of me too. This is the first one I've actually got from a pup.
Yeah. Yeah.
He's bad.
I feel like Zara, like, she had to settle down like around 2, but then she had another one like 4 or 5 to where she got even more calm. But then we didn't really fix her until I think she was 7. So like that had nothing to do with it. Yeah. She's not everything's like tightened up there.
The lights on, but nobody.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
Murphy just, he counter surfs, so you have to make sure you have the power on him. If not, he's going to counter surf.
Mm-hmm.
Make sure the pantry door's shut, the bathroom door's shut, and don't you dare leave it cracked because he's going to open it and see what he can get.
Oh, see, Zara's counter surfed one time, and it was like when we were gone. We had this huge just like grill out. Like our friends were at our house, and then we went to the friends, and we came back, and we're like, where'd all the food go? Well, she just had a party for herself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So
My dog won't touch a thing.
Oh, no, she won't either.
Nope.
what kind of dog?
She was a rescue,
Yeah.
but she's a pit terrier mix.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. Good dog.
One day I went over there and she's got this bone laying on the table. I said, she's not going to touch it? No, she won't touch it. It was on the coffee table.
Yeah.
She won't touch it till I tell her to have it. I go over about 3 weeks later. I'm like, is that bone? Oh, I forgot it was there. I'm like, give it to that poor dog.
The dog's like, I haven't forgot.
Dog's still sitting there.
She never begged either until my cousin's husband fed her a pizza crust one day.
Oh, yeah.
Now she begs for everything.
Screwed. That's how Chase's mom will feed Zara, and I'm like, quiet.
Yeah, when we had the fire,
Yeah.
I had my wolf. She was in the kennel. Well, we went. The insurance company would have paid for us to stay in a hotel and put the dog in a kennel, but being the type of dog she was, I didn't want her to be away from us too long. Mm-hmm. So I told the insurance company, I said, I says, you give my mom what you would pay for a hotel for a week. I said, you just give it to my mother. I said, write her the check. I don't even want nothing to do with it. I said, I'm saving you money by not having a kennel bill.
Mm-hmm.
So we go to my mom's, and first night, it's kind of funny. First night, my mom says, well, you're going to tie the dog out on the porch? She can sleep out there. I said, well, if the dog sleeps out there, I'm sleeping out there. She said, well, I suppose they can sleep in the house. So it slept in the bedroom with us. So my stepdad, like I said, when she was at home, she'd lay at my feet when we were eating. My stepdad started feeding her from the table. Not when I was around, but I knew he did. Because she would sit there and
beg to him.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
So there was a bag of buns sitting on the table. Everybody get up from the table. I'm sitting in the living room, and I see her, and she grabs them buns and runs in behind the couch. Now, mind you, she's about a year and a half old. She weighs about 80 pounds. And I rushed back, I got a hold of the buns, started trying to pull them out of her mouth, and she growled at me. I said, oh, no. Me, her, the buns, the light, and the table all laying in the middle of the floor. And I had her on her back, right by her throat.
Trying to get buns out of her mouth.
She dropped the buns. I had her right by the throat, and I said, "You do not growl at me. I'm the boss." And she tried to get up, and I said, "I'll let you up." And I still had her by the throat, and I grabbed a hold of her back, and I stood her up, and I had a hold of her, and I said, "Don't growl again." And she never did.
Huh.
Well, you almost had to be because of their personality and their structure.
Well, then I had her bred, and we kept one of her pups, and they used to get going in the house, and then they'd start, and you could tell by the change of their voice, and I would say, "All right, that's enough, no more," and then they would settle. They would quit. They knew who boss was.
Oh, yeah.
But she bit one person.
Oh, did she?
Mm-hmm.
You?
Nope.
Linda?
Yep. And I told her, I says, "You're going to get bit." Because she had to take pills. So we'd give it to her in a Twinkie. Well, the pup was up on the bed. She was up on the bed, and she was eating that. And the pup was trying to get that Twinkie, and she's trying to keep the pup away. And I says, "Take the pup and go in the room." I said, "You're going to get bit. I'm in the bathroom. I'm getting ready to go to work." She growled at her twice. I said, "You're going to get bit." Next thing I hear, "Ouch." She bit her right on the hand. I went in there. I smacked her on the nose. I grabbed her throat. I said, "You don't bite. That's bad."
Turned to Linda, said, "Told you."
It's going to be a Margie minute.
I told you were going to get bit. But I guess then all day, like she'd go in and sit in the chair, sit on the couch. That dog go in, she put her head up on her lap.
Yeah.
No.
Sorry,
I know.
Mom.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But yeah. Oh, yeah. Like I said, and good with kids. I would have left my grandkids when they were 3, 4, or 5. I'd have left them out there because we live in the country. I'd have left them there by themselves with them dogs. Because my daughter was changing. She was changing Bailey. She had her on the floor, and she was fussing and crying, and that dog come in and she laid her head right on her lap. I said, "Mama's just changing her belt, changing her pants. She's all right." As soon as she got done, she quit crying.
Yeah.
And then she
Eased up.
she eased up. And
Yep.
She went in the room, man. Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun with her. Used to take her in the truck with me, or in the car. She'd lay her head across my lap. Well, we had a Grand Am floor shift. I'm coming in 39 from Philly. I'm going out towards Roswell. Just come out of town, and all of a sudden, what's wrong? She kicked the car in neutral. I put her back in gear. I kind of stood her up. I said, "You can't do that no more."
Oh, man.
I should have got one of them waters.
Yep. Made that coffee, Roger.
Didn't know where the coffee pot was. Well, any words of parting wisdom?
Well, the only other thing I can say is when I was young, I wish I would have just focused all my energies on one thing.
And
something I wanted to do, I wish I had put all my energy towards that one
just
thing
that certain
instead of doing a little that.
Yeah.
I just wonder sometimes how that would have changed my life if I would have just, if I loved history so much, I wish I had just focused everything on that. Becoming a history professor.
I was just going to say, you'd have been
something like
history
that. But I
teacher.
did.
Yeah.
I did this, I did that. Several.
But did you know at that time?
Got comfortable.
That's what I was going to say. Like, did you know?
Yes. Oh, yeah. When I was in kindergarten,
Okay.
I think I've said this before, kids would go
Right.
elementary library. They go to the right to get Dr. Seuss. I'd be going to the left to get Lincoln books and history books. So I knew from an early age that I had a huge interest in that. But you get into high school and I started working at the grocery store and was pretty good at that. And then moved on from that, went to another job, pretty good at that. And, pretty soon you kind of lose that stuff because you got to do what you got to do, I guess.
Yeah.
but I wish I would have focused all my energies on that thing I really love to do.
Yeah.
But so is life. But I guess that's another lesson for young people is
I
got something you want to do it while you're young.
I think though
and
the
be
younger
focused.
generation is more focused on doing
What they
like
want.
and what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really
Yeah.
do.
I do too.
More than we.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
But is it good and productive?
Yeah, right.
Not
Well,
always.
Not. Well, and I think you need your parents' support.
Yeah.
So I kind of
Guidance.
guidance. It's almost. I feel like sometimes it's a privilege that some kids have because, say, for instance, you're 16 and you want some independence. So, okay, well, I can't afford a car, so I need to save up, but I need a job to do that. So then there's those hours on hours on hours reading history books that now, I don't know. I just think whenever mom and dad set you up, even like my parents, they were like, hey, we'll give you half. So I was like, all right. I'm like, I saved up $700, Dad. You want to match me? And I was like, let's go find something, So even that, like I was kind of half and half, but I don't know. I think whenever, I don't know. I just think, and I mean, it's nice that you can set them up that way. They just have to remember.
Right. As much as I struggled
To be-
raising my kids, I bought both of them their first.
Yep. As long as they're thankful and humble about it. Yep. You got it.
I can remember my mom, that was my first loan. She took me to the bank, got a loan for a $450 car.
Yeah.
Yep. Remember that old Pontiac Catalina? Yeah, I'm telling you, you could pack in. Them was half the school in that thing. But it also took your whole paycheck to put gas in.
It only had a 37-gallon tank.
It's like your gas gauge barely moved.
A lot of us fit in the trunk.
Oh, shucks, yes.
Oh, you went to the drive-in, didn't
We
you?
did. We did. As we're driving through there, get louder and louder. I turn the radio up.
Oh, one of the things we should change.
It did really good donuts, though, in the snow.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
Volkswagen does better. you go on, crank the wheel, pull the emergency brake on, just. I got in trouble for that one time.
I bet you did.
I'm sure.
Only, well, I had to, I was married. And I had the kids in the car. Let's do donuts. I said, okay. So we went to the parking lot and we did donuts. And so then when I pulled out, I go up, pulled out on Macaulay Drive, and I went clear over, and I went on the road and pulled back on, and guess who was behind me? A highway patrol.
A cop.
Yeah. So he pulled me over. And I always used to tell him, well, I'm checking the road, I'm checking bumps on the side of the road. So that's what I told the officer. Of course, I was about 3 sheets in the wind too, but he didn't get me for that. And he says, that story is so ridiculous. He says, I'm going to let you go.
He's like, you worked for that story.
Yeah.
He's never heard it before. He's
Never heard it before.
Yeah,
He's probably never
get
heard it again.
Well,
Oh,
that was fun.
life is good.
Yes.
Yes.
It is.
I mean, it's a lot better with the Lord.
100%.
Yes,
But,
it is.
it's, I mean, we can still have fun
With the Lord.
with the Lord.
Mm-hmm. Look what we're doing now.
That's why.
Yep.
That's why we always have fun on Wednesday night.
Oh, yeah.
We always enjoy.
Sorry, Michael, we had fun without you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you believe it?
Believe that?
And we're still recording, it says. So
Okay.
I did it.
Okay.
We did it.
You didn't shut us off.
No. All right. Well, Beth, do you want to pray us out?
Yep.
Let me-
Dear Heavenly Father, we just thank you so much that we have the freedom to come here and just talk about you and talk about life, dear Father God. And we just thank you that as we were younger and not always making the right choices, that you are always there to protect us, and guide us, and lead us to where we are today, dear Father God. And we thank you for all that you do for us, Lord. We ask that you just lift Pastor Holly up as she's bringing the Bible study message to us this evening, and that you be with each and every one of us. Bless us with traveling mercies and grace as we travel home tonight. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen.
Hey friends, Pastor Michael again. If you've enjoyed this podcast, you should consider joining us on Sunday mornings. Our address is 1943 North Water Street Extension in Yerkesville. We'd love to have you join us for an in-person service.